Have you ever played something and it just didn't sound right? Maybe you're missing one of the 3 Ps. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel where we discuss the tools and the strategies to help you play more guitar better. I'm your host Alex Bourne. I am a pro guitar player and teacher based in the US. And today we're going to talk about one of the first things that I teach my students, even if they already have some experience. I call them the 3 Ps of a good sounding note. Okay, so a lot of teachers don't even address this because they assume that it is already known. And I like to address it in order to make sure that my students know what they're doing right so that they don't abandon these ideas in pursuit of something else. Okay, so I call them the 3 Ps of a good sounding note. And they are placement, as in finger placement, pressure, as in finger pressure, and posture. And the posture part isn't really about like whether you sit up straight with your hands in your lap, both feet on the ground, not like the school posture that we learned in kindergarten. It's more about how you hold the guitar in relation to your body. So I'm going to talk about that today. Let's get to it. So the first P is placement, as in finger placement. And whenever you're playing a note on the guitar, you technically have to put your finger in between 2 frets. A fret is this piece of metal that crosses your guitar fretboard, okay? And when you play a note, let's say I'm playing the 7th fret, you gotta put your finger in between them, but there is a sweet spot where the note sounds the best. So keep in mind, whenever you play a note, the string is ringing from the fret to the bridge. And different notes are just different lengths of string, okay? So getting a good note sound requires that you have a good connection with the fret, okay? So the sweet spot for your finger is just to the left of the fret that you are playing from where your eyes are as the player, okay? So if I'm playing the 7th fret, I gotta put my finger here. From a player's perspective, that's what it looks like, okay? So that's where the note sounds the best. And you don't want to be on top of the fret because it'll mute the note. You don't want to be in front of it because then you'll get a buzzy tone and you might even get the next note. You don't want to be too far back in between the frets because you'll still get a buzzy note. And yeah, so there's the sweet spot right there. So this goes for any finger, any fret, any string, anywhere. You just want to make it a habit of always placing your finger behind the fret in that sweet spot. The second P is pressure. So you can have your finger in the right place, but if you're not pressing hard enough, you still won't get a good note sound. So the right amount of pressure is just enough that you don't get any buzz, but not any harder than that, because if you do press harder than that, you will press the string out of tune. Now it does take a lot of pressure, a lot of muscle to press the string out of tune, so if your hands are new, you might not even get that far. But if you work with your hands and they're very strong anyway, you might not even realize that you're doing it, okay? So what I recommend is experimenting with your pressure, starting with very, very light and finding that buzzy zone and then pressing just a little bit harder so then the buzz goes away. That is the ideal amount of pressure. And if you press harder than that, it'll go out of tune. So I'll try to demonstrate that now. So I don't know if you can hear that, but it's going sharp a little bit. So that also goes for any fret, any finger, anywhere, and you want to get in the habit of that, of doing that. A good way to do that is to make sure you're focusing on that in your exercises. The third P is posture. Now, whenever I say this in front of my students, everybody sits up straight and they put their hands in their lap. They think, oh, my posture's bad, I'm going to get in trouble. But it's not really like the posture that you learned about in kindergarten. It's more about how you hold the guitar in relation to your body. Now, you can't really see this right now, but I I use a specific thing with my acoustic guitar that puts the guitar in an ideal position for me to play, because I'm teaching lessons online a lot, and I like to use the acoustic for that, and it's just I need to have good posture or else I will probably develop injuries and things like that. So that helps me for one thing. But what it helps me do is it helps me keep my guitar neck elevated. Okay? And basically what everything comes down to is the position that it puts your wrist in. Okay? So ideally you want to keep your wrist in the middle of its range of motion when you're playing. So put the guitar in a place that lets your wrist do that. Okay? And part of that is keeping your neck up. Okay? So see my wrist? It's in the middle of its range of motion, and I can still get all my notes. Okay? So that's one thing. And if you let your neck sink down, it'll put your wrist in at an angle, and that can develop strain injuries and things like that. So that's one thing. Thumb placement back here is also very important. You want to be around the middle of the back of the neck back here. And the role of the thumb is as pinching power, okay? So your fingers are playing notes on this side, and your thumb is helping them press them down by pressing against the back of the neck back there. So it's important that you have your thumb in the right place. I see a lot of people moving their thumb out like this. That's really bad, because that puts a lot of strain on your thumb, and your thumb muscles will get really tired and fatigued right here, because you have to have a lot of leverage to press those strings now. Okay, not ideal. So keep it around behind your fingers, around the middle of the back of the neck. The other thing too that's important is space in between the neck. Okay, your hand, like right here. I see a lot of players doing this. That's bad because it cramps your playing fingers. Okay, so you want some space in here, because that lets your fingers reach over the strings. And then with these fingers, you want to play with the fingertips. Okay, so the tips of the fingers right here, I'm pointing with my pick. There, you can see it behind my dark shirt. So that's the tip, not the pad. Okay, there's a time and a place to play with the pad, but for right now you want to play with the tip of your finger close to your nail, and that lets other strings ring underneath your fingers. Okay? And then over here in your right hand, just make sure that wrist is in the middle of its range of motion, and you should be good. This is called what's this called? A guitar lift. Yeah, this is called a guitar lift, and this puts my guitar in a good position, because without it, it really isn't a good position. It takes a lot more work to put the guitar in a good position. So here, just always ready to go, ready to play, and I can sit up straight. I don't have to put my leg up on a stool or anything like that. So yeah. The other thing I should talk about too is you want to have your guitar up against your tummy back here. Okay? Guitars like to slide down your knee like that, because a lot of them have a glossy finish and they're just slippery. Don't let them do that. You want to keep it up against your tummy back here, and the reason why is, again, it comes back to this wrist. Okay? So if you let your guitar slide like this down your knee, look at what that does to your wrist. Okay? It increases the angle, and can put you at risk for strain injuries. The other thing I see a lot of beginners doing too is looking over, like hanging over their guitar to look at the dots on the front of their neck. Don't do that, because that'll put a strain on your neck and your back, and that's just as bad as your wrist. You want to have overall good posture in the whole of your body when you're playing. That's the way to play the longest, with the most energy, and the most efficiently. So you have dots. Most guitars have dots on the side. I don't know if you can see that right there, but those coordinate with the dots on the front. So just use those instead because you can see them from where you are sitting up straight. You don't have to lean over the front. Hey, thank you for watching this video. I hope it offers the polish in your playing that you are looking for. If you'd like to check out my other videos, try this example right here. This should be my latest video, and I hope to see you on the next one. Peace.